Okay, hi. My name is Tiff or Tibia. It's okay. Um, so you read the title, you saw the thumbnail, and I think anyone coming from Twitter would probably know what this is about, especially Maz, who belonged to C's face, who I tagged. Yeah, is that it got into my brain. So this started completely because there was this tweet. I don't remember when or where or who, but there was this tweet about what was it, like scent chart or something like that, and then it's like Changyashir smells like Ben 10 spray, and Shishi smells like pizza, which is the thing that I remember. And then Mass commented, says like, "What? She doesn't smell like cotton candy? I thought she smells like like she's supposed to smell like cotton candy and fairy floss and angel hair, and that's the same thing as like sprinkles and flowers." And it's like, I agree, but like pizza shishi. I also agree on pizza shishi. And then a while later, I think there was another poll, or at least like another post, because I've been seeing like a few posts going around about Omegaverse link click, and it's not like the first time I've seen Omegaverse link click on my TL. Is that like specifically there was this tweet about Shishi being an alpha, if I can find it, because I think I can find it because I replied to the post. If I can find it, I put it up here, but like Shishi as an alpha. Oh! So basically, Alpha Shishi started the entire thing. That's why I committed myself to designing wolf versions of these characters. Is purely because Alpha Shishi. I think it's cute. I want to Alpha Shishi. um, cause occasionally I'll see like tier lists or people discussing like, oh, like who's going to be like what in the Omegaverse, and consistently it's very different across like everyone. Like everybody has like very different opinions from each other. Like it's not like one whole fandom hive mind, which is very interesting to me. I think Linklick's one of those fandoms where it's like I think everybody could agree, but also no one agrees. But like everyone agrees, so agree to disagree in similar, I guess. Because for like say, especially for like Shiguang, it's very different from like some people see them as like I think Changashi has very like been consistently, or at least I've seen Changashi consistently be portrayed as like an alpha. Occasionally I'll see like Omega Changashi, not really Beta Changashi, but Lu Guang, I see him like fluctuate like a lot. It's very interesting. But the twins from what I have been consistently seeing, it's either Beta or Omega. And I think I could see why. It's because like in like your typical Omegaverse stereotype, it's like, the Omegas are like small or something like that. And the twins, specifically I think Lee Tan-chan, they're comparatively smaller or like shorter than like the other characters. I think Lee Tan-chan is like our shortest male character so far. And so like it makes sense why some people choose to see them as like omegas or like betas or like alphas. Personally, I see them as betas, but alpha shishi. Alpha shishi. Another thing I like to do is that I tend to like to keep the twins like genetically. I think they're meant to be fraternal twins because they're of the opposite gender. One of them is male, the other one's female. So I think that would count them as like fraternal twins, but I'm not sure because they look very similar. So I'm not sure if that's meaning if they're fraternal twins even though they look super similar, or if they are considered as identical twins despite the fact that they're not of the same gender. So honestly, I'm not sure. I would still keep it as they're both like the same type of like secondary gender. So if one of them is an alpha, the other one has to be an alpha too. which brings me into a different point, but I'm not going to talk about that yet. Moving on, continuing. So Shishi started the entire thing, but Maz drew a wolf Shishi. And then it's like, yes, please. I agree. I agree. Because the thing is with like Omegaverse is that it kind of cringes me out. Not that it's like I've indulged in Omegaverse before because I think it's interesting. But the thing is, like, the way I've seen it be like used or talked about, especially like in SNS social media, is that like, yeah, what they're saying about Omegaverse being cringe is kind of true, because it is a bit cringe, specifically with how, like, I think published novels, because I've seen the screenshots of like this, like, I think promotional art for like this published novel for like a straight Omegaverse, and then there's this artist who's making like an Omegaverse parody, like a straight Omegaverse parody, and it really does look like that. The connotation of like the alpha being super like dominant, and it's like, you're mine, oh, super possessive, super like rich CEO, big shoulder. Like, yeah, that does happen a lot, because and it's weird to me because they're humans. And the thing is, I've also seen people talking about how they don't like it when they hear, or when they read in fanfiction, and then it's like it's the snarling, the growling, the hissing. To me, I don't have much of a problem with it, because I don't really attach like a guy who's like going all furry mode doing the stuff. I can understand the intent behind why it was written that way, but I can also understand the people who are saying it's like they do see like the werewolf ripping his shirt, like howling and all that stuff. So it's like, I understand, and I also wish it was also a werewolf too. Don't worry about it. So I do wish that Omegaverse focused a bit more on like animals, on like the animalistic part of it, because I really hate the fact that these are like humans just doing these things. So I really like Wolf Shishi as a wolf. He's so cute. That would then bring me to just start thinking about it. Like, I can't stop thinking about it. So I thought about it, and it's like, what if I made my own Omegaverse, and instead of humans, they're all wolves? And this is part one. I made a different type of Omegaverse. That's coming in the second part, but this is part one. This is Omegaverse with wolves, and it's also Link Click related, because Link Click took over my life. I hate Link Click. So yeah. So before I get started onto the speed paint, I wanted to set a few ground rules when I'm also talking about the characters I'm going to be doing the speed paint. So first, what type of Omegaverse am I going to do? And like, you know, I'm already working on the assumption that the people watching this video already know what Omegaverse is, because you freaking clicked on the video. But I'm gonna explain it anyways, because I think that's like courtesy. So Omegaverse is essentially, basically, it's working on this very old, outdated wolf hierarchy structure, which you can search it up. But the guy who made like the original Omegaverse, like Omega Alpha hierarchy structure for the wolves, his name is David Mech, and he came up with that theory. And then afterwards, when observing wolves in the wild, he's like, oh shit, I'm wrong. But whatever, that's a whole different other thing to talk about. That's completely off topic. But it's interesting if you want to know where Omegaverse originated from. But it originated from that, a wolf pack structure, where essentially alphas were the most dominant, I think male alphas, And then when the alpha male got a mate, that's also the female alpha. So basically, alphas would be like the dominant position in like the pack. And then there's the betas, and then there's the omegas. I'm not sure what they do. I can't find much research on it because, well, I can't find much research on it because I didn't research that much on it. I briefly looked at it, but essentially that's the gist of it. Is basically just like a pack hierarchy structure. And when you're writing in like fiction novels, I think it basically goes like this. So like basically everybody is born with like pheromones, I guess, or specifically like the alphas and the omegas. They're born with pheromones. Betas, you can decide if they don't have pheromones, if they do have pheromones, but it's not the same as like the alphas and the omegas. Because the alphas and the omegas, it's like they both like kind of have like a natural attraction towards each other. And then the betas are kind of just like normal people, which normal people do have pheromones. I don't know where they do. I don't know. So yeah. And the alphas, basically they can get the omegas pregnant. So both female and male alphas, they can get either a male or a female omegas pregnant. And basically the entire point of Omegaverse is to have children between same-sex couples without doing adoption, which I think is the purpose. That's it. That's at least what I'm assuming. Because what's the point of Omegaverse if you're not gonna, if my wife's not gonna get pregnant? We'll talk about that in a bit. But I'm explaining Omegaverse right now. In some other certain Omegaverse like settings, there could be these things called dominant or submissive like pheromones, I guess. There could be like a dominant or like a submissive alpha or like a dominant or submissive omega. I am not gonna follow that because that's just adding more like subcategories into it. And I know like in real life, like sex in real life, gender in real life, it's completely like a spectrum. There's no like one cut down the middle. Like it works like that in real life. I'm not gonna put it that way because it just complicates things further, which is, so I'm just not gonna do it. Like if someone, like if like an omega is more dominant than another omega, like that's fine. I don't need to like label it. I just can have it as what it is. This omega is more dominant than that omega. I'm not gonna make one dominant, one submissive, and then that's like a medical term that they're using. Another thing that I've been seeing specifically recently is like the term enigma, which I think is more like an alpha, like but plus plus squared. Is basically an alpha that can get everyone pregnant and can turn like someone into like an omega, I guess. I'm thinking that's how it works. Because I know that like enigmas can get alphas pregnant. I'm not sure if it turns the alpha into an omega. I'm just not sure if it does. But that's basically like that's what an enigma is. It just gets everyone pregnant. The thing is that I'm also going to be removing that, so there's gonna be no enigmas at all. I don't like the fact that enigmas have to exist. Like, why would you make something that's more alpha than an alpha? I get the idea of like wanting to have like an alpha story, but also wanting to have like the alpha get pregnant or whatever. I don't know, but it's like it seems redundant at that point. Just have an alpha story, make them adopt children. It's easy. So that's the basis I'm gonna be working on. Just alphas, betas, and omegas, and then just yeah, there's that. So starting with the first three characters that I drew the Shi Guangling trio, and this is what I'm gonna be talking about. So from what I want is that I want like Chao Ling and Chang Xiaoshi to be like siblings, but not like exactly blood related siblings. Maybe Chang Xiaoshi's parents like abandoned the puppy when it's like a young puppy, and then like the parents of Chao Ling found the puppy and then decided to adopt it because it's puppy, and then they grew up very close to each other, and then afterwards like the two of them, I think I think how a pack family structure works is that the pack just kind of stays with each other rather than move along and find like other wolves to mate with. I'm not sure if that works, if how that works. But for the sake of my own, I guess, story, it's not really a story. I'm not gonna make a story out of this. For the sake of this story or setting, I'm gonna make it so that like when the children are old enough to leave, they leave, and they can either leave with each other or they can just like go on like their own solo trip or something like that. If they want to leave or like if they want to stay, staying is also an option. I think Chang Yashi and Xiaoling would probably want to leave like with each other to be like gain more independence or something like that, and then probably along the way they would meet Lu Guang, and Lu Guang and Chang Yashi would be mates. So speaking of like what the Omegaverse pack hierarchy would be like, is that I'm already quite struggling with the siblings. For Lu Guang, I definitely want him to be a beta. Like that's like 100% like a beta. I cannot see him as an alpha. He's not dominant enough for that, and I cannot see him as an omega. He's not submissive enough for that. He's just in between. I cannot see him as anything else but a beta, so he's a beta to me. For Xiaoling, I definitely want her to be the opposite of Shishi, who I very firmly put the twins as like alphas because that's like the entire start of like why I made it in the first place. But I'm not sure. Like I can definitely see Xiaoling as like an omega, but I can also see her as like not very like strongly as either like beta or alpha, but not as strongly as like omega either. So it's like I'm kind of struggling with Xiaoling. Like what do I want to put her as? Like do I want to give her omega traits, make her omega, or do I want to make her like alpha and go along with like Shishi, or do I just want to keep her as beta and then Chang Yashi would be the only other like the other one that's not a beta? Because if I made Xiaoling a beta, it'd be kind of boring if I just made all three of them betas. Because like why would I like this is just a wolf story at this point. It's no longer Omegaverse. So what do I make Xiaoling? Since like to make it simple, I guess I can just make Xiaoling like omega to have her be opposites with Shishi so that they can be mates a bit easier. But I don't honestly feel like there's anything wrong with her being like alpha or beta. I think it can still work. I think they're like the love is still strong between them. But I think like omega Xiaoling can also work as well. For Chang Xiaoxu though, it gets a bit more complicated because I am in love with Chang Xiaoxu. I'm in love with him. He's my wife. He's my second wife actually. Emma's my first wife, but he's my second wife, and I think I love him a bit more than Emma. I'm sorry, Emma, but like I love Emma. Unfortunately, I didn't draw her in this entire lineup because I didn't want to draw Wang Qing, and I also like I don't know what to do for like their wolf forms because I don't want to make Emma brown. At least not like the same color as her hair, but I kind of had to. So it's like I'm not sure what to do with their wolf form, so I just didn't draw it. I'm gonna be drawing it in part 2, the second part of this Omegaverse thing. But moving back to Chang Xiaoxu, like what do I make Chang Xiaoxu? So the thing is that opening up a little bit and exposing myself, I want to get Chang Xiaoxu pregnant. He is my wife. I want to get him pregnant. I don't care about Lu Guang. Lu Guang can do his own stuff. I want Chang Xiaoxu to be pregnant. I want him to be pregnant so badly. You don't get it. I drew this thing like long time ago, like self-indulgence, and then it's like. It's true, it's still true. But it's like, because if I'm in the story, right? If he's gonna be Omega, then I get him pregnant that way. And then I make him run away from Lu Guang. He's my wife now, but let's get married. If I hated drawing my own characters, if I wasn't like, so like, you know, it's like I'm so lazy to draw my own characters. Because I do have OCs, I just don't want to draw them because I'm so lazy to draw them. I think I would be a Yume shipper. But I'm not a Yume shipper because I don't really draw my own OCs. Or like a persona where I can insert myself into a relationship with Chang Xiaoxu. And the thing is that it's even weirder is that I probably wouldn't want to. Because I don't want to insert myself into the story. It's like, where would I be in here? And like, would Chang Xiaoxu even like me? No, he wouldn't. It's like, I don't think Chang Xiaoxu would like me. but I like him. He's my wife. I love him. I love him so much. It's like to me, it's like Xue Guang is definitely like soulmates with each other. I love them so much, but it's Guang's already a beta, so I have free will to make Chang Yaxue either like Omega or Alpha, and I don't want to make him a beta because I don't know. It's like to me he doesn't give me like beta energy, and I'm gonna be pulling up like some really old. I think this is like from an interview where someone asked the director Lee, like what is the Omega, like not Omegaverse, and like what do the boys smell like? And I think this definitely is like indirectly asking like what is the Omegaverse scent? And of course, like director Lee, he didn't specify it's like alpha or omega, but he specified like, oh, Chang Yaxue has a strong scent. Like he still lingers, even if you like are even like he's not there anymore. And then Lu Guang has kind of like a fading scent, which I interpreted it in like a very angsty. Is like if Chang Yaxue is no longer there and Lu Guang's like all alone, his trace is still everywhere. And then when Lu Guang's gone, it's like it's so faint, but you know something is there, but you cannot put your finger on it. So that's how I interpreted it. And I think this is also why this influenced me into thinking Lu Guang's a beta. Because because like the fading kind of like not very strong scent, yeah. For me, I think like as an alpha, Chang Yaxue can work as well. But as omega, Chang Yaxue can also work as well because they both, omega and alpha, both have strong scent. So it's like I'm stuck in between the two of them. There's this comic I've seen, like Omegaverse comic by I think Hikatoki Neochi, if I'm correct. I can try to find it I can try to find it. But they had this Omegaverse comic where I don't think it's ever specified if Lu Guang was an alpha. I think he was, but it's never specified if he was because like he it was specified that Chang Yaxue was like omega and then Lu Guang was like affected by his scent, but like not so much to the point where it's like he's like I don't know like growling or whatever. But he was possessive over Chang Yaxue. I think it's like it's so vague what Lu Guang was, and the fact that it could work for both alpha and like alpha and beta. But for Chang Yaxue, it's like, what do I do? What do I do? What is wrong with you? So honestly, I don't know. I've been ranting. I've been thinking. It's like, what do I make Chang Yaxue? And this is what I brought up. This is what Li Tenchen is an alpha. Besides Xue Guang, besides Fei Shi. Fei Shi is actually my third favorite ship. I don't know why I'm talking about them. Hong Cheng is my second favorite Chang Xiaoxue ship. And Li Tenchen is an alpha. In this, like, I've been drawing just recently, I think until like last month, I've been drawing this like warrior cat AU. It's not really warrior cat, it's just like they're cats. And then in that AU, I made like Hong Cheng kind of like a thing. And then I thought to myself, like, if I were to make this an actual story, and because like Lu Guang cat is very like, you know, he obviously has crushed on Chang Yaxue, and it's like is obviously like setting up like, oh, Chang Yaxue and Lu Guang, they're ending up together and it's so cute. But it's like I thought to myself, what if instead of Xue Guang, I made Hong Cheng like the final like end game ship? And I feel like so many people would be so mad at me for doing that. But it's like I don't know. They just it's their fault. It's not my fault. So yeah, because Li Tenchen is an alpha. What do I do? And in relation to Chang Yaxue, like what do I do? Like what's the answer here? Because the answer is still that I can make it an alpha ship. That can still work. That can still work. But it's like, what if I don't want to? So let's see. So honestly, I can't decide. So I'm just stuck here. Yeah. I don't know what to do anymore for this guy. If I was in the story, if it was me, if I was a wolf, and I was found him or something like that, he's definitely an Omega. But unfortunately, I'm not, and he only has 2 suitors. And then it's like I still cannot decide his gender. So I guess he's a phantom Omega Alpha thing. What is Choyashi's gender? Yes. So after that entire crying, debating, what do I do with the twins? What do I make them? Well, easy. They're already alphas. It's already been decided. Alpha Shishi. She's the reason for why this entire thing is happening. Yay! So yeah, I thought like the speed paint for like the twins play, I might as well just talk about like the drawing process and like the designing process. So you can see in like Shiguang, for like Shiguang and Ling, I made Lu Guang look as close to his like animal counterpart, like being a cat, and yeah, I gave him like his bluish tip, like paw and like his tail. I think I wanted to make Changashu like brown, but then I was like, nah, just do his hair color. I was like, what if he looks too similar to like Chaoling? Chaoling's darker, just make her look darker. And so yeah, the twins is usually like foxes, and so I had to translate them into like a wolf form. And like wolves and foxes, the only major difference besides being Canis lupus and Vulpes vulpes is that one of them is significantly larger than the other one, and they have different anatomy, so I guess they're very different, but they're both canines, so it's kind of easy to translate like the fox design into like the wolf design. And yeah, I kept the flowers from their original fox forms because it adds more flavor to them. And I thought it's like originally, because I was very like hesitant to make them pink. I was like, if I make these 2 pink, then I can do whatever I want with Vane, because Vane is Vane. But if I make them brown, then I have to kind of change Vane's color. And it's like I asked a couple, I think friends, Discord server mate, I asked them, it's like, okay, what color should I make her? Should I make Shishi brownish pink or should I make her pink? And it's like, make her pink. And it's like, okay, so pink Shishi, pink wolves, I can do whatever I want. This is art. I don't care. Yay! I think for my warrior cat AU, I think I want them to be definitely more natural hair color. But for this fun little thing, I just make them pink. A little like side tangent is that I was kind of like disappointed when I saw like the twins, or like when the photo when they had pink hair. I was kind of disappointed at that, because up until I guess Chenjin, but Chenjin can be read as like brown hair, like black hair. It doesn't have to be green hair, but up until like season 2, Lu Guang was the only character with like white hair, and his white hair has been like it was pointed at like, oh, this character has white hair, has so unnatural hair color, and then like it stands out a lot. And then so I thought like Lu Guang was the only character in the show who would have like this unnatural hair color that would like make him stand out a lot. But when the twins came over, it's like, then what's like, why would you make like Lu Guang have like white hair if these 2 are gonna have like pink hair? It's arguably gonna stand out a lot more. They also have red eyes. So I really wish like in another universe that the twins would have like brown hair or something like that. But in this universe, it's like I think I've come to accept it. I think it looks like really unique and still cute. I think the reason why they have pink hair could be Implic's influence on like the series, and it's like I'm not complaining. I think it's cute. I like the fact that they have pink hair now. I've accepted it. But I feel like if I was the one who was designing or like designing the characters, I would probably make them have more natural hair colors, and then like Lu Guang is the only character who has like unnatural hair color. So yeah, but I love pink. Pink is everything. Pink. Because the entire recording for Chang Yasher and I think he took like 5 minutes of like pure recording time, or like much longer than that. I think I spent like barely any time talking about like Chaoling and Lu Guang, but for Chang Yasher it's like I went full on like crying mode. And I think it's like the the video is only like 5 minutes long. The speed paint's only 5 minutes long, but yet like I had to like slow it down. I think it's like frying the quality of the video. So like apologies if the video looks really bad, but I guess I have to cry. So moving on to House of the Hot-Headed. Vane looks like a fox. Vane looks like a fox, and this was before we had official confirmation that Vane's animal was supposed to be a wolf. Even so, like during his like in his official art, he still looks like a fox. And so it's like there's a lot of confusion going on. Like, what is Vane? What is Vane? Vane is Enigma, I guess. Oh no. But whatever. Vane's an Enigma. Whatever make these boys. I feel like I've seen a lot of discussion talking about like how every like one in like House of the Hot-Headed is a alpha, and I agree with that. It's just that Liu Xiao is kind of like a loser. So like, why would I want to agree with Liu Xiao being an alpha? Like that's too cool for him. He's not an alpha. He's a beta, or worse, just a regular wolf from like a different universe or something like that. I was gonna say, like, oh, worse, he's an Omega. I was like, that's not worse. That's just, it's like. It's like you hate a character so much that you draw him pregnant. Maybe that's what Liu Xiao is. But honestly, I just want him to be like a beta. I'm not sure. I thought of like a comic draft in my fanfiction for Danshi 5000, and I talk about like whatever. It's just like I thought about like a fanfiction draft. Comic draft. I thought about a comic draft in my comic, and it's basically like Liu Xiao like discussing like, okay, what is everyone? Are you a beta or omega? Cause something, and then I wanted one of the points to be like, oh, he's like he wants himself to be like an omega so that he's surrounded by like hot alphas or whatever like that, and then I think someone else is gonna ask him like, if you were an alpha, wouldn't you be surrounded by like hot omegas? And then he's like, yeah, I agree. So it's like I also don't know what to do for Liu Xiao, but I think to ensure his suffering, making him a beta is the best choice, because then no one wants him, except for Vane, I guess. What I think is happening in this like setting story is that like maybe like Xiaofei and Vane, they are like traveling together like as like one pack, and then like Xiaofei really likes Vane, but like Vane is like kind of oblivious to it, or like maybe he knows but he doesn't really like say anything about it because they haven't said anything about it. And then Liu Xiao comes over and then he really likes Vane, and then like he's super open about it, and Vane is like, okay, this guy's open about it, might as well start dating. And then so like they became mates or whatever, and then like Xiaofei is like and he's sick of them. I would be sick of them too, but whatever. So yeah, love is in the air. Xiao Vane is real. I love Xiao Vane. So what is Vane be? I don't know. And that's intentional this time. Because Vane is gender. Vane is everything. Everything is Vane. So what would Xiaofei be? What is Xiaofei? I don't know. I think of him as like an alpha, because like that's the only reasonable explanation to me. I think of him as like an alpha. So easiest answer is that he's an alpha. So yeah, alpha. I honestly expected to talk a lot more about this like stupid AU than I like initially thought I would, but I guess not, because the most I talk about was just Chang Xiaoshi. So yeah, there's that. For those who finished the video until like the very end, thank you so much for watching the video. And for those who are confused by what the fuck I'm doing, sorry. Hopefully you will be more entertained when if I release part 2 of this Omegaverse content thingy. It's like, what is this? What is the point? The point is that I wanted to draw wolves, and I wanted the wolves to be the new Omegaverse. Maybe start like a revolution. So yeah. And it's also link click related, because link click is love, link click is life. I love you guys. I love you all. Thank you for watching the video. Hopefully my mom doesn't find out about this video and then she watches it and she's confused. But don't worry about it. It's okay, because that's a problem for the future. Bye bye.